Hey, everybody. Let's talk about color today. And maybe I'll be able to teach y'all some things that you didn't know. And maybe you'll be able to teach me some things that I didn't know. So I'm Lauren, the Cheerful Baker. And in case you all didn't know, my background is in art. So I love color. And there are so many different options out there for um, royal icing and so many different types of color that you can use. And so I just wanted to share with you today. Here's my buddy coming in. I wanted to share with you the types of colors that I like, how I use them, and answer any questions that you all have about color. So let's get started. First thing, when you are making royal icing, well, actually, I would love before we get started, I would really love to know what type of color you all use. Do you use Americolor, Chef Master, Ann Clark, the Sugar Art? What color do you use with your royal icing? It would be really interesting to know what everybody uses. Um, we'll do a little poll. When I first started decorating cookies, I used the type of color that you buy. Let me show you the Wilton in the little tubes or in the little jars because that's what I could find at my local store. I started using that. I no longer use that because I think it's really hard to get the color out of these little jars. You can use a toothpick. I just think it's tricky, except I always use ivory to from Wilton. I love it. I use it to make my colors look a little bit more springy sometimes. I use it for my cream, for instance, like in these cookies. That's what I use. It's my favorite cream. I love it. But otherwise, I don't really like these little jars. I think they're hard to use. Carolyn, you use Americolor, Chef Master, How to Cake It gels, and some sugar art. Hello, Heather. So if you all have your favorites, be sure and put them in the comments. I can only share what I know. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with color, I thought that this might be a good starting spot. So here's my favorite. Let's start out with my favorite. My favorite is the sugar art right here. They have several different types of color. One is a powdered color, and it comes in these little jars. And Master Elite is the type that you use for coloring icing. They're very, very concentrated. The thing I love about the sugar art in the little jars is you only need such a teeny small amount. That's the huge benefit of it. I don't want to say downside because I don't really think there's a downside to the sugar art. The color develops over a little bit of time. So you want to mix this into your icing and then you want to let it sit, your icing sit for about 10 minutes and stir it up again to make sure that that color is dispersed throughout it. But I really love the sugar art. I don't think that there's any aftertaste. They have every color you can think of. I really, really like it. They have also come out with gel colors, which is really nice. So you don't have to wait as long. It's always good when you mix your colors into your icing, though, to wait just a little bit of time and then give them another stir to make sure that that color is dispersed evenly throughout your icing. But the gel color does a great job. And I think the gel color is a little bit easier to use than the powdered colors, but I've used the powders for a long time. You can see on the side of the bottles, it tells you, even though this is red rose, it'll make a very light color and then a little bit darker and even darker than that. You always want to start out with one drop of color, mix it up, Let it sit for about 10 minutes. Add more as you need. Carolyn says, how do you mix your sugar art? I know it has to have some liquid. I must not let it sit long enough because I have dots of powdered color specks. Yes, I'm so glad you asked that question, Carolyn. What Holly with the sugar art recommends you do is you put a little bit of color um, in the bottom of your bowl. Then you put water, a little bit of water, mix it up, then put your icing in there and mix it in there. I don't do it like that. Here's how I do it, and it works. I take my icing, I put a little bit of the color into my icing bowl. Then I have a little squirt bottle that I squirt water on top of it. Then I mix it up. Now you have to let it sit a good 10 to 15 minutes. And then you need to mix it again. If you do not do that, you're going to have powdered color specks. You don't really have that problem, I don't think, with the gel color, but I bought tons of Master Elites before they had the gels, and I still love them. You just need to let the color develop for a little bit longer if you use the powdered colors. So that's the sugar art. Now, another option is if you don't want to use artificial dyes, are these Watkins assorted food colors. I'll be honest, I have never used these. If you all use these, I would love to know your experience. These are a watery food color. So I would think if you put these in your icing, you want to make sure that you have not put the water into your icing yet. And I know that the colors are a lot lighter, but if you have someone who has the dietary needs of not being able to use regular color, then I think that this is something that you can try. A friend of mine told me about these, so I bought it, but I haven't used them yet. This is all she uses with her family. She has a child who's very, very sensitive to color. So anyway, Watson food color. Another great option is Americolor. And I should have mentioned at the beginning, you want to use gel color with your royal icing cookies, because if you use watery color like the old-fashioned just food color that you buy from the grocery store, it's going to water down your icing too much if you have the consistency already, and you need so much of it to really create colors. So you want to just use gel colors or powdered colors in royal icing. Some other brands, another brand is Americolor. I love Americolor Super Red and Super Black. I have a big old bottle of it. It's the only thing I ever use for red and black. It works great. It's very highly pigmented and it just works so well. Here's a tip about red and black. You need to make it ahead of time. Red, and especially black, is not a color that you can make the same day if you do not want the effects of the red and the black taste. If you put in a ton of red in your icing, it can have a different taste, and I don't like that. So same with black. So I always make my red icing a day or two in advance, and then I allow it to sit and the color really develops. So if you mix your icing to a light red and you let it sit, it'll develop to a darker red in a couple of days. You also want to always remember that icing dries darker, so you don't have to mix that red as dark as you think. It's going to dry just a little bit darker. The same thing with the black. I love, look how messy this is. I've used this 10,000 times. It's the only thing I ever use for black. Americolor Super Black. And again, this is paste, soft gel paste food color. The black, the way I make my black is, yes, Carolyn, that is a great tip. Carolyn says she mixes a little cocoa powder in the black and it gives it a little chocolate flavor. That is an excellent, excellent idea. It gives, the thing that's hard about black is if you start with a white base, it's hard to get to black. You've got to add a lot of color. So either add cocoa powder to it. You can actually get dark chocolate cocoa powder, which is very, very, very dark. Um, if you don't want to have the chocolate flavor, then you can also start with a base of colored icing. So a lot of times when I'm done with an order, I'll just squirt all that icing into a bowl and it'll make a really ugly, usually brown color. But then that's a great base for black because it's already dark and you can add black to it. You can leave it in the freezer. How much do you use to make reds and blacks? It depends on how much icing you have. So, I mean, this bottle has lasted me forever. I really don't know. I just squirt it in there until I achieve the color that I want. Again, with the black, you want to make a dark gray, let it sit, it'll turn to black. It just totally depends on how much color you're mixing at one time. Ann Clark has a line of food coloring gels. I love the Ann Clark company. I'm not a fan of their food gels. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. um, I have found that they can sometimes come out of the bottles. Slimy isn't the right word. I just don't like them. I'll be honest. If you all like them, and I love the company, I really do, but I just have not been thrilled with their food gels. I'm just going to be honest. Now I have them and I have used them. They have some colors that I like, but it's just not my first choice. Next, we also have I have so many colors. You can get Americolor gels in these little bitty bottles. And these are super handy because you can get lots of different colors and you can decide if you like those. I'm trying to find. You can also get. Oh no, this is airbrush color. Okay, let's talk about airbrush color. You can use airbrush color in your icing, but it's very, very watery. And airbrush color can be good if you want a super light color. Like let's say you're making a bunny and you're really afraid and you want to make it pink instead of white, but you want to make it very, very, very light pink. Then instead of gel color, you might want to use airbrush color because it will start out much. You won't have to be as careful about how much you put in because airbrush color is already very, very diluted. There are some other colors that people use that I have not tried, but those are just the ones that I really love. This is one that someone gave me that I haven't tried yet, but I would love to. This is called Karen Portaleo Edible Artist Oil Paints. So if you all like to paint on your cookies, this might be a fun thing to try. I mean, I haven't used it, but I'd like to try it, but I haven't used it. Is there a good clear strawberry emulsion for icing? No, I have not found a strawberry emulsion for icing that's clear. It's always red. So just use it for pink Valentine's cookies. But sometimes it is hard to find, the colors or the flavors that you need that are not colored. Let me think if I have any other colors to show you. Okay, so that's icing color. I'm going to share with you also my favorite colors to use in an airbrush machine. And we're going to talk about airbrush machines another day, but just since we're talking about colors. So Timbo, do you all know Timbo? He's the most incredible artist. He came out with these really fantastic colors for airbrush. These are called Shadow Colors by Timbo. And he has one in here that is so good. It's called, I'm looking for the name of it. There's one that's called Devil's Food. I don't think I put the other one in here. But he has, are y'all good about putting stuff back exactly where you where you mean to. I am not good about that at all. He has these, his colors. Shoot, I can't find the brown one. Hold on. Let me look through all these colors here because I think it's in here. Golden Bake. Here it is. It was just in the wrong place. This is the best airbrush brown I've ever seen. It makes your cookies. I mean, if you just want that little brown edge that you want to airbrush, it's perfect. So I love these airbrush colors. They're just very, very neat colors that he has. So again, this is Shadow Colors by Timbo. And then my other favorite airbrush colors are by Semi Cakes right here. Semi Color Splash. These are fantastic. They work so, so well for airbrushing. I have some others that I do not like as well. So I'm not even going to show them to you. These are the only two. Now, edible pens are very big, right? When you're decorating cookies too, sometimes you want to use an edible marker. And without a doubt, my favorite edible markers, I mean, hands down, are the Tweets Cookie Connections for putting color on your cookies. She has two different types. One is a brush tip, so you can see it's a little bit fatter. They come in every color imaginable. And the other, and I have them all, and I love them so much. The other one is a skinny tip, and I'm trying to find one of those. They might actually all be in my cookie room. I mean, not in my cookie room, in my kitchen. I'm trying to find them. I think these are all brush tips. Let me look over here. No, I don't have any non-brush tip ones in here. They're all in the other room. But the other one, oh no, I do. I just found one. The ultra. See, you can tell how many colors she has. Every color that you could ever imagine. And the wonderful thing about these, hey Tracy, is they dry incredibly fast. So you don't have any smudging. And sometimes that can happen when you are using an edible marker. These do not smudge at all. So this is the ultra fine tip. This comes in every possible color. Can you all see how small it is? Teeny, teeny, tiny. These are perfect for writing on cookies. Again, these are Tweets Color Connections. I just really, really enjoy those. For writing on cookies, I use Wilton Food Writer markers. I would not want to ruin my beautiful Tweets pens writing on cookies. These have a really fat tip. They're good for sketching on cookies before you put royal icing on top of them. I have had these for several years. They've not been ruined. I've drawn on lots of cookies. Like, I'll show you here. Here's the back of a cookie. So if you want to, write on it, draw on it, in order to be able to follow that line, it shows up really well. It works great. You can get these from Michael's. I would not use my Tweets Color Connection pens to draw directly on a cookie. Let me think about some other colors. I think that's pretty much it. Now, here's my tip for you all. If you want to, we've already talked about red, we've already talked about black. A lot of times it's tricky to know how to make navy blue. That seems to be a color that is really, really hard for people to make. And so the way that you make navy blue is by taking, this is an airbrush color, but royal blue and purple. So I always have purple, violet. I always have that on hand because a lot of times you can add that to a color and it just deepens it. So to make a darker blue, add royal and purple together. Now, if you have a color that you want to make more, would muted be the right word? Sage green. Let's talk about sage green. Sometimes it's hard to know how to make sage green. what you want to do is you want to look at the colors that are across from each other on the color wheel. So let's say you are making, or you need to make sage green, and all you have is a leaf green. And you think, how in the world am I going to tone that down to make it a sage, a more muted version of that green? Does anybody know what color that you would add to it? Because it's kind of surprising. Anybody? You're going to use your color wheel and you're going to add the color. Bye, I love you. You're going to add the color across from it on the color wheel. So that's red. Isn't that crazy? So believe it or not, you take your regular green, your brighter green, you add a teeny tiny bit of red to it, and it will turn into a sage green. You can do that with all the colors on the color wheel. So yellow and purple are across from each other on the color wheel, I think. Yeah, yellow and purple. Sometimes I have to look at my color wheel. And so let me look at that and make sure that that's right before I tell you all. Can someone tell me if that's right? Yellow complement. Even though I've done this 1,000 times, I still have to look it up because, I don't want to mess up. Yeah, purple. That's right. And I certainly don't want to tell you all the wrong thing. So let's say you want to make a very eggy yellow. Hey, Angie. And all you have is a bright yellow. What you do is you add a teeny tiny bit of purple, and you will have a more toned down yellow, which is like an egg yellow. If you add too much of the color across from it on the color wheel, so for instance, let's say you have this yellow and you add a little bit too much purple and you get this really weird color, just add more yellow. It's amazing how the colors across from each other on the color wheel, how they do that. A lot of people are curious about how to make a pumpkin color. So since we're talking about this, let me see if you all can figure this out. If we have orange, but you don't want it to be bright orange, you want it to be a more pumpkin-y orange, can anybody guess what you could add just a little bit to that color orange to make it a more toned down orange or a more pumpkin orange? Anybody? Tina, you got it. You add blue. Good job. Because it's across from orange on the color wheel. The same thing, we're talking about Easter, and all the cookie groups and stuff, because Easter's coming up soon. So, hey, Betsy. So let's talk about the last color, because I know this can be overwhelming, but you just got to get yourself a good color wheel. If you want to make a good, beautiful robin's egg blue, one thing that you could do is you could get a blue, and then the color across from the color on the color wheel is orange. You can add just a teeny tiny bit of orange to that blue, and it's going to tone it down and give it more that robin's egg blue. So one day when you don't have a huge order, or you don't have any orders, one thing I would do is I would play around with your colors. Only get the primary colors, which is red. Get the primary and the secondary colors. So red, orange, what are they? Red, Roy G. Bibb, red, orange, yellow, blue, green. I can't thank you all. My brain has exploded. I stayed up too late last night. Get the primary and the secondary colors. Just practice mixing them. Mix the ones across from each other. See what you get. Thank you, Violet. Violet. Who has a good color wheel? You just get one off the internet. As long as it has the colors that you need. Like, let me show you right here. Let me show you the one that I just found. Let's see. So I looked up, yellow complementary color, and this one came up. Um, Nadine's Stay complementary colors. That's really all you need. You just need to know what colors are across from each other. You don't need all these extra colors to make the colors that you all need. You just need the primary. You really only need the primary colors because that can make the secondary colors. So, just learning a little bit about color theory, you don't need 15,000 colors. You only need the primaries and probably the secondary colors. And just play around with some icing, and it will be amazing what you can learn from just doing that. So, that is what I wanted to share with you all about color today. It's my favorite thing. In fact, I was really excited. Have you all heard about the company Teaks? They make amazing shoes. Well, they contacted me and wanted to know if I would make cookies for them and create an Instagram story or an Instagram video for them decorating some cookie shoes. And for them, the color is very, very important. Well, I said yes because I can make any color. No doubt. Because I have an art background, but also because I have played around. So it was really fun to be able to um it was really fun to be able to say yes to that and know that this color that they have, I'll show you all the color that I didn't have any trouble making it because they said it had to be exact. And I thought, well, I know enough about color, I can do that. So let me show you. Um Let's see. Whoops. Yeah, right here. So you see the bottom of those shoes? Um, it had to be that exact color. And I knew how to do that. So it got me that job. So the more you know about color, the more opportunities that you all will have. Shirley, I talked about natural food colors in the beginning. I've never used them. I do have them right here. Watson food colors. I've never opened it. I've never used them. What I do know is that they're very watery. So I think, actually they look a little bit jelly. I've never used them. Has anybody else used them? I have heard that you have to add a lot more color to your icing to create the colors that you want, that you're really only going to be able to create pastels using the natural food colors. I could talk about color all day long, you all. I love it. I love it so much. But just I'll leave you today with experiment, find your favorite color. Always use gel color. The one I recommend is the Sugar Art. I just have had the best luck with them. The one I recommend for black and red is Americolor Super Red and Super Black. I just have never found anything that works better. And I guess that's it. So before we go today, any questions on what I talked about? If you're watching on the replay, be sure and tell me hi, ask a question. I'll go back and check. This is our second week of Fun February. So last week I talked about the science of baking and talked about butter and flour and some other ingredients, how to store your cookie dough. You can go and watch those. Tomorrow we are going to do I'm going to do some videos this week on how to decorate some of my fun cookies from my most recent Cheerful box. This is probably my favorite. We're going to do that. I'm also going to talk about other things having to do with icing this week. And then next week, I'm going to get into, I think next week I'm going to talk about the tools of the trade. So if you all have questions, please let me know because I want to answer your questions. I'm just looking up. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a mini floral cookie tutorial and give you an idea for a Valentine's Day gift, how you can package some mini cookies. That's going to be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Wednesday at 1, again, is going to be a wedding dress cookie tutorial. Thursday is going to be how to mix royal icing and a little bit about the consistencies. And then Friday is going to be the car tutorial. Karen, the wedding supply list for the wedding box should have been sent to you in an email. So check your spam to see if it's in there, but I will also, when I get off here, I will put that into the Facebook group. Oh, can you talk about silver and gold paint? Yeah, sure, I can do that. The one I use is from the Sugar Art. I might even have it in here. I was using it yesterday. So I think it's still in the kitchen. Yes, I use the Sugar Art. It's completely food safe. I love it. It's great. And I use that with their color solution, which gives you a great finish. I'm twirling around my little thing to see if here's the color solution that I mix it with. When you're using gold, you want to make sure that the base of your color that you use, the base color is yellow. If you try and do gold over top of white, it's going to look kind of streaky. If you're using silver, what you want to do is have the base be gray, and you're going to have a lot better luck with your coverage. These are all diamond dust. Yeah, my actual colors are in the other room. You all want me to look it up? Here, I can look it up real quick. And then I can tell you the Sugar Art. Let's see. Let me look it up. Gold. You can even start out with a good gel color. A good gold gel color. But wedding gold is the one that I use. Here, let me show you all this so you can see. Right here. This is the Sugar Arts website. And so if I were doing gold, I would, start with a yellow, or they do have a gold gel color that you can mix with your icing. And then this is the one that I use. I use wedding gold all the time when I use gold. And then I just mix that with my color solution and just paint it right on, dry icing. It works great. It's completely FDA approved, so I always feel comfortable using that. Anybody else? Any other questions? Anybody? I got up this morning and went and worked out, so I look all sweaty and shiny. But I'm proud of myself, so I'm going to go get myself together. And thank you for watching. And I hope that you will join me tomorrow and share this with all of your cookie friends. And if you think of a question after the fact, you can put it in the comments, and I'll answer it. So have a good, cheerful day. Bye.